we're having some fun. We got more comedians coming up. Next up is who shall it be? Shall it be? Let's bring up why not?
Why not? Yay.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not? Bring up why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I can't stand up. What the hell's wrong with me? Look at me.
Stand up, but that's
Why can't
because
you
you've
stand
been
up?
visiting the Excite scene too many times.
Evidently.
Too many tequilas.
Lord. I was in the wrong shape there for this stage. Okay.
There we go. Here you go. Good.
You know, I learned years ago that you can't make jokes about fat people if you're not a fat person. Only fat people can make jokes about fat people, and I learned it from my cross-stitch days. My old roommate did cross-stitch and macrame and all the shit, so I thought, I'm going to do one, and I did a cross-stitch. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade, and I gave it to somebody, and they liked it, but the back was all fucked up. My roommates were all neat on the front and the back. And anyway, when I got married, my mother-in-law was a big woman, a huge woman, and she always joked about her weight and how she's going on a diet. And so I found this little cute cross-stitch with little fishies on it and little bubbles coming out of their mouths, and it said, I'm on a seafood diet. When I see food, I eat it, and I made it. And I gave it to her. Okay. And I never fucking saw that thing again. Even after she died and we cleaned the house out, it was gone. It was gone. So I learned a long time ago that you can't do that. Well, I made another cross-stitch, and I did it for myself. I did one for it says, all our guests bring happiness. Some by coming, others by going. I put it in the bathroom. Oh, well. This lady goes to the market, and she goes to the manager, and she goes, do you have any cabbage? And he says, no, it's Monday. Our cabbage will be in on Friday. Come back Friday. Well, she comes back on Tuesday. Hey, mister, you got any cabbage yet? And he goes, ma'am, I told you yesterday, it's Tuesday, it comes in on Friday, come back on Friday. And she comes Wednesday, and she comes Thursday, and finally on Thursday, he's so fed up. He's like, lady, can you spell? And she goes, well, sure. And he goes, well, spell apple. She goes, A-P-P-L-E. And he goes, good. Spell carrot, C-A-R-R-O-T. Really good. Can you spell cabbage? C-A-B-B-A-G-E. He says, you forgot the F. She said, there ain't no F in cabbage. He says, that's what the fuck I'm trying to tell you, lady. You guys are riding in a car. There's a hardware technician, a systems analyst, and a programmer, and the systems analyst is driving. And when they come to this really steep hill, he finds his brakes failed. The car's accelerating way out of control, so he pumps the emergency brake, downshifts the gears, rubs the wheels, rims against the curb. Finally, he wrestles it to a stop. The three climb out, and they look at the situation, and the hardware tech's like, let's try and fix it. I'll crawl under the car, and I'll take a look. The systems analyst says, no. I think we should get someone qualified to fix it. It's a specialist in brakes. And the programmer says, hey, why don't we just get back in and see if it happens again? This guy, he had a nagging secret. He couldn't keep it any longer. So he's in the confessional booth, and he admitted that he was stealing building supplies from a lumberyard where he worked. What did you take? The priest asked. And the guy said, well, enough to build my own house, my son's house, and our two daughters, and our cottage for the lake. Oh, my gosh, this is very serious, the priest replied. I think I'll have to ask for a far-reaching penance. Have you ever done a retreat? And the guy goes, no, but if you get the plans, I can get the lumber for you. These two elderly couples are having a friendly conversation, and one of the guys asked the other guy, hey, Fred, how's the memory clinic you went to last month? Oh, it's outstanding, Fred said. They taught us all the latest psychological techniques. Visualization, association, It's made a really big difference for me. Wow, that's great. What's the name of that clinic? And Fred went blank, and he thought, and he couldn't even think. And then he had a smile on his face, and he goes, "Hey, what do you call that flower with that long stem and thorns?" "You mean a rose?" "Yeah, that's it." And he turned to the rose. "What was the name of that damn clinic?" For years, Dr. Benson left his office, and he went to Teddy's bar. Teddy made him this daiquiri, and he put crushed pecans in it. Well, one day, Teddy ran out of pecans, so he substituted some hickory nuts. Dr. Benson sat down, and he took a sip under Teddy's watchful eyes, and he frowned. He goes, "Hey, Teddy, this isn't an almond daiquiri. What is it?" "Well, I can't lie to you," Teddy said. "It's a hickory daiquiri, Doc." In the hospital, a bunch of relatives gathered together in the waiting room, and their family member was lying there ill, gravely ill, and the doctor came in looking really somber. "I'm afraid I'm the bearer of bad news." He surveyed all the worried faces. "The only hope left for your loved one is a brain transplant. It's experimental, semi-risky. You'll have to pay for the brain." And the family, they absorbed all the news, and they said, "Well, how much does a brain cost?" And the doctor's like, "Well, $5,000 for a male brain and $200 for a female brain." And finally, one of the people couldn't control his curiosity. He said, "Well, why is the male brain so much more?" And the doctor smiled, and he said, "It's just standard pricing procedure. We have to mark down the price for the female brains because they've been used." Hey, did you guys know the bridge that connects Boston and Cambridge, Mass, on Mass Avenues, commonly known as the Harvard Bridge? When it was built, the state offered to name the bridge after any school that could present the best claim. So Harvard put this essay in, told all their contributions to education, including that it deserved this honor of having the bridge, named after them. Well, MIT did a structural analysis of that same bridge and found it so full of defects they agreed it should be named for Harvard.
Oh.
Now, foreign countries have taken the brunt of a lot of our American jokes, and here are some foreign jokes about Americans. Why does it take 3 Americans to change a light bulb? 1 to stand on the ladder, 2 to carry enough light bulbs till they find one that's not defective.
Oh.
How can you tell it's midnight at an American airport?
How?
You see the 8 p.m. flight taking off? You know what Americans call a TV set that goes 5 years without need of repair? An import.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how can an American be certain the car he just bought is really new? If it's a factory recall.
Oh.
Why did the nun cross the road?
Don't know.
You try crossing yourself after you get hit by a freaking truck. This guy's holding his wife's hand. She's lying on her deathbed. "Jerry, I have something to tell you before I pass on." No, dear. Everything's forgiven. All's well." "No, Jerry, I've been carrying this load for years. I gotta tell you, I've been unfaithful to you. I've slept with your best friend, Phil. I'm so terribly sorry." "Yes, dear, I know. Why do you think I fucking poisoned you?" You know what you call an anorexic with a yeast infection?
What?
A quarter pounder with cheese.
Oh.
This is disgusting. I don't know why I did that. I realized I was dyslexic when I went to this toga party and I was dressed as a goat. Crossing the border here, this U.S.-Mexican border on his bike, this man is stopped by a guard. He had 2 sacks on his shoulders. He goes, "What's in the bags?" The guy says, "Sand." "Get them off. We'll take a look." He took them off. They emptied the bags. There's nothing but sand in them. Reloaded the bags, put them on his shoulder, went across the border. 2 weeks later, same thing happened. He wanted to see the 2 bags. Nothing but sand. Every week for 6 months, it goes on and on and on. And finally, the cyclist with the sandbags failed to appear. A few days later, the guard's out in town. He sees him at a bar. He says, "We knew you were smuggling something across the border. I'm not going to say a word, but what was it you were smuggling?" And the guy goes, "Bicycles." I have some religious truths here to tell.
No.
I did. I don't have them anymore.
Oh.
The father and son go fishing, and this is Stokes County education. And they're out in the boat, and the boy got curious about the world around him. He goes, "Hey, Daddy, how's this boat float?" And the father goes, "I don't rightly know, son." A little later, the boy looked at his dad and goes, "How do fish breathe underwater?" And once again, the father goes, I really don't rightly know, son." And finally, the boy says, "Why is the sky blue?" And the dad says, I really don't rightly know, son." Well, finally, the guy goes, "Dad, your mama asking all these questions?" And the father says, "Course not, son. You don't ask questions. You never learn." A little girl goes shopping with her daddy, and after the shoe shop, the cake shop, she goes to the barber shop, and she's with her daddy, and she's standing at the barber's chair, and her dad's getting his hair cut. She's eating her snack cake, and the barber goes, "Sweetheart, you're going to get hair on your muffin." She said, "Yeah, I know. I'm going to get boobs, too."
So cute.
In 1890, there were these two Mexicans. They were lost in the desert for weeks. They're at death's door, and as they stumble, hoping for salvation, like an oasis or something, they see off in the distance this tree, and as they get closer, there's a rasher upon rasher of bacon on this tree. Smoked bacon, crispy bacon, oh, juicy bacon. "Hey, Pepe, he's a bacon tree. We're saved." "Oh, you're right, amigo," said Pepe. So Pepe goes on ahead. He runs up to the tree, salivating. But as he gets within 5 feet, there's a volley of gunfire. He's shot down in a hail of bullets. And his friend drops down on the sand and calls to the dying Pepe, "Pepe, Pepe, que pasa, hombre?" And with his dying breath, Pepe calls out, "Ugh, run, amigo, run. It's not a bacon tree. It's a ambush." This young Air Force lieutenant arrived from airport in Japan. He was given a beautiful renovated office, antiques, furnishing it. He's sitting there and he sees this enlisted man come in, so he wants to look like a hotshot. Picks up the phone, he pretends he's exchanging chit-chat with a base commander. He threw around names. He talked about letting him stay in his condo in Hawaii, set up a golfing date and all this bullshit. And finally he hung up and he says, "Can I help you, Sergeant?" And the TGSG says, Yeah. "Yes, sir. I'm here to activate your phone lines." This couple attending an art exhibition at the National Gallery stared at this portrait, and the painting depicted 3 really black, totally naked men sitting on a park bench. 2 of the figures had black willies, but the middle guy only had a pink willie. The curator realized they were having trouble interpreting it, so he gave his assessment, and he goes, about a half-hour explanation about how it was sexual emasculation of the African American in a predominantly white, patriarchal society. And he said some serious critics believe this pink willie reflects cultural sociological oppression experienced by gay men in contemporary society. But after the curator left, this young man in a Forest football shirt said, "You want to know what the painting's really about?" Now, how do you claim to be more of an expert than the curator? People wanted to know. "Well, I'm the guy that painted it," he said. "There are no African Americans at all. They're just 3 Nottingham coal miners, and the guy in the middle went home for lunch."